Hello guys, welcome back. My name is Nathan and today we're going to be discussing Matvei Michkov, one of the best Russian prospects of all time and possibly the next Alex Ovechkin or Evgeni Malkin. Now, Matvei Michkov right now at 16 years old has already dominated the NHL and is looking like potentially the first overall pick in the 2023 NHL entry draft. But how good really is Matvei Michkov, and is he as good or even better than an Alex Ovechkin or Evgeni Malkin at their same ages? Watch till the end for all the comparisons and all the prospect goodness, and hit that subscribe button if you're new. 70% of the people that are watching the videos are not subscribed, so join the Grav gang for more prospect and draft content just like this. Now, I do want to start out this video by saying, in order for Matvei Michkov to be better than Alex Ovechkin, he needs to be better than the best goal scorer of all time, which last time I checked is pretty hard. So I don't see Michkov getting to that level, but we're just going to be talking about prospects and how Alex Ovechkin and Evgeni Malkin compared to Matvei Michkov in the same years and the same prospect years against each other. Now, when it comes to Matvei Michkov and his entire profile, he's a December 09, 2004 birth date, age 16 at the moment. He's from Perm, Russia, right wing, 5'9", 148 pounder, who right now is a top prospect eligible for the 2023 NHL draft. And there was some big debates over whether it be him or Connor Bedard going first overall, and I think he kind of silenced that debate with him signing a multi-year extension in the KHL to stay with SKA for the foreseeable future and likely for at least 2 years after his draft year, which is huge for his stock going first overall, but I'm not sure how much it'll affect him and actually getting to an amazing elite level. And in fact, I think in some ways might actually help him in the future. We'll get into that. But with Matvei Michkov, we already talked about what he actually is and who he is. But in terms of how he's producing, it's obviously what matters most here. And he has been just exceptional so far this year in the NHL. Now, before this year, he was playing in the U16 tier in Russia, and in 26 games, got 70 goals, 39 assists for 109 points. And obviously he was in the U16 Russian tier, but that's pretty good. That's like Wayne Gretzky midget league numbers right there. And he was just absolutely steamrolling everybody. But he came into the NHL this year and has looked great. He started off with SKA, Yarguy, and he played 6 games there, got 3 goals, 1 assist for 4 points, but he ended up switching to, of course, SKA St. Petersburg in the MHL, and in 38 games so far is 27 goals, 15 assists for 42 points. Now, that is incredible to be above a point per game in the NHL for any Russian player. I mean, guys like Amirov and all these different Russian prospects over the years, to get to that type of level is extremely difficult. But this is a guy that does not turn 17 until December. He's 16 years old for the foreseeable future and has still been able to do this stuff. He was 15 for a decent chunk of the MHL season and is right now over a point per game, 27 goals as well in 38 games played. Not too bad for the 16-year-old, and the hype is definitely deserved. Now, I don't just want to read off stats to you guys and just say that this player is automatically good, because I've been watching a few of Matvei Michkov's games in the MHL. Most of them are online free on YouTube, which is fantastic, by the way. But when it comes to Matvei Michkov, he is one of the most dynamic, fun, energetic prospects that I've ever gotten the pleasure of being able to watch. Michkov is making the MHL look like U12 Russian hockey, which, I mean, the MHL isn't this amazing top league, but there is still some great prospects there and some great talent. But Michkov at 16 years old, for a league that's mostly 18 to 20-year-old players, really solid ones, by the way, he's making it look like absolute dirt, absolute trash, and that is what he should be doing if he's going to be the next Alex Ovechkin or Evgeni Malkin. But he's had the hype, he's had the skill, he's had the talent, but is backing it up with results, which I think is absolutely huge. He's a guy, though, that I absolutely expect to be on the World Junior team for Russia next year and be a big part of Russia just in general, because, again, he did sign that multi-year extension to stay in the KHL, which I think will definitely help him in terms of ice time, in terms of opportunity. I mean, you'll see with guys like Vasily Podkolzin, he has basically made it known that he will want to go to North America as soon as possible, and his ice time has dwindled. He's played like extra forward, fourth line minutes in the KHL for a very long time. Finally, that's starting starting to a little bit change, but that was how it's been these past couple of years, and he's had to make the most of it, and his development has suffered. With Michkov, it is in his best interest, I still think, to stay in the KHL, get as much time as humanly possible, and be in a position to get the development he needs. He'll only be staying in the KHL for, I think, 2 years after his draft year, and I don't think that's really too bad. Personally, if I'm getting one of the best goal scorers of all time, if I'm getting one of the best prospects in a long time, I can wait a couple of years for him to actually get to the NHL level and be available for me. I mean, if I have the choice between a decent player and he's there in year 1 or an elite player and he's there in 2 years, you're taking the patience player, you're taking the player longer term, especially if you're on a rebuilding team. Like, let's say the Ottawa Senators get Matvei Michkov in 2023, I could totally see that being a great fit and being just a huge player and one of the best players in the NHL. I could see it being that way and progressing that way as well. Now, another thing that is super impressive when it comes to Michkov is just the records that he's been breaking. He is the first player in MHL history to be under 17 years of age and have a 30-goal campaign in the MHL. Nikita Kucherov was the closest to that. He got 29 in his age 16 campaign, but Matvei Michkov is just making everything happen for himself. Now, also when it comes to league-wide stats in the MHL, he right now places 10th in points per game with 1.05 in terms of players with over 30 games playing the MHL, in elite company there. And in terms of goal scoring, he right now is second in the MHL, only 2 behind Alexander Kishikov as the #1 MHL goal scorer. He right now is number 2, not far behind, and has been absolutely electric. And when we talk about the games played, Alexander Kishikov has played 50 games, Matvei Michkov has played 44. So there's a difference in terms of play and in terms of ice time and in terms of opportunity. Yet here is Matvei Michkov, second in goal scoring and second in production. That just shows how good of a goal scorer he is and how solid he's been. Now, in terms of the points overall, it looks very, very good, and obviously you can tell the goal scoring is the main highlight of Michkov's game. He is a great playmaker and an elite one at that, I would say, too, but the goal scoring is really what makes Michkov special. And I think in terms of goal scoring, he's probably one of the best goal scoring prospects I've seen just in this last decade or so. He is going to be an absolute monster with the puck. Personally, when I see the potential of Michkov, when I see the play in him, when it comes to, I would say with the goal scoring ability there, the biggest thing for me is just getting in the right positions. He kind of reminds me of Anton Lundell a little bit, where positionally he is almost every single time in the right place in the right time, and that's not by accident. He finds the net perfectly. He crashes the net beautifully. He gets around the ice so perfectly as well with his skating that he's able to get past defensemen and make space happen for himself. And that was in U16 play, that was in the MHL, that's been everywhere he's played, and he has the size already to be able to do that. But it's not even the size. He's not like a 6'4" guy or anything. He's just such a crafty, shifty, great skating defenseman who, when he needs to be physical, will be physical as well, but a great player around the net, great crasher in the net as well. I think if he's able to bulk up on more, just has so much potential in almost every space of the ice. I mean, he's already attempted the lacrosse goal multiple times this year. I don't think has been able, actually, I think he might have made one, but I can't confirm that, but he has definitely attempted it quite a bit of times, but he has the skill to do plays like that on just a moment's notice, and he can pull it out of his toolbox at any given time. He is absolutely one of the most creative, one of the most deceptive, one of the best goal scoring prospects we've seen in the last few years, and a guy that in the 2023 draft for sure is a guy that I personally would not want to miss out on. Now, obviously, when we talk about the 2 best Russian prospects ever, it would probably be Ovechkin and Evgeni Malkin. And when it comes to Ovechkin, he obviously had the best draft year, I think, for any Russian prospect ever, doing absolutely incredibly in the KHL. But with Evgeni Malkin, let's just compare Malkin to Michkov in terms of what we could see in the draft year. Now, with Malkin, he mostly played in the KHL, got 12 points in 34 games played, but also played in Tier 3 for Russia, got 5 games played under his belt with 5 goals and 7 points. Now, if we're talking about the tiers of Russian hockey, you got the KHL, the VHL, and the MHL. Now, back when Malkin and Ovechkin played, those the MHL at least wasn't a thing at that point, and they were kind of just tiers of hockey from Russia. And let's just theoretically say that Tier 3 Russia back then was at the same level as the MHL, which I don't think personally was the case, but let's just think for that for a second. Now, Now, this was his stats in his draft year in 2004. He was able to get just above a point per game with 7 points in 5 games played. Here's Matvei Michkov, who's almost at the same trajectory 2 years before his draft year, playing in the MHL, playing in the Tier 3 Russian Hockey League, who has 27 goals in 38 games played, 42 points, is putting up the point production, and has the goal scoring to boot. I mean, when we talk about the production there, I'd rather have the player in Tier 3 wise putting up the points at age 16 rather than age 18. And we'll see, at least KHL wise, how much of an opportunity Michkov can get. But personally, I think we could see him in the KHL next season. And by the time his draft year rolls around, if he puts up like 10 points in like a 40 game played campaign, I would not be too surprised by that. He's a player that points wise has so much potential, I think, in the KHL to even in his draft year to get to that kind of level. And in terms of draft year production in the KHL, could be one of the better ones we've seen, not just in the last decade, but just like Malkin and Ovechkin, pretty much ever. Now, I think Evgeni Malkin's draft year similarities are a lot more likely to happen with Matvei Michkov than Ovechkin. I mean, if we're talking about the draft years in 2004, Ovechkin had 13 goals, 11 assists, 24 points in 53 games in the KHL in 2004. I think that's a little bit nuts. I don't know if Michkov's going to be able to get to that level. But again, he's signed in the KHL for the next couple of years. He's probably earned the SKA's trust, at least franchise-wise, and they can put him in a position to where he can get those opportunities and can get development long-term. I mean, SKA, obviously we talk about that kind of the corruption there, but like, they turned guys like Artemi Panarin into absolute superstars. Panarin was undrafted and went through the SKA system, and after some time going through the KHL, turned into an awesome player in the NHL. And I see Michkov likely being in that kind of same trajectory. He'll be in the NHL a lot quicker than Artemi Panarin, but I still think that potential to become an elite winger is so incredibly likely to me. And I don't think he's going to put 13 goals up on the board in his KHL draft year. I don't think 24 points is going to happen, but I could see like a 10 to 15 point campaign in his draft year, depending on how much ice time he gets. But if he's in a top 6 role initially, even on SKA's stacked team, this is a guy that I think can rise up to that occasion, can be that amazing goal scorer, at least in his draft year, and prove to people why he is a top prospect in 2023. Personally, for me, Connor Bedard is awesome, but Michkov is where the excitement comes for me personally, and I would love to have either of those kids. If it's Michkov at number 1, I don't have much of a problem. If it's Bedard number 1, I don't have much of a problem either. But Michkov is absolutely, in my opinion, the real deal. And if you have to wait a couple of years after the draft year to get into the NHL, so be it. This is a player that is a must-have as a top 2 pick, and even though I don't think he's going to be the next Ovechkin, I don't think he's going to be the best goal scorer of all time, I think he could become one of the best Russian forwards ever and has potential to be an absolute sniper, an absolute must-watch in the NHL level, and quite frankly, already is must-watch hockey in the MHL too. But that'll be it for today's kind of roundup discussion on Matvei Michkov. Hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell for more kind of scouting report / specific prospect deep dives just like this one. Make sure you let me know down in the comments down below what you agree and disagree with of all the opinions here. And how do you see Matvei Michkov projecting into the NHL? Do you see him being one of the best Russian prospects ever? Do you see him being a bust? Do you not want to wait for him in 2 years? Whatever it is, let me know in the comments down below all your thoughts. And make sure you share this video with your friends. Get the Matvei Michkov hype out there, boys, and click on this card as well for all of my hockey prospects talk where I want to play this. My name is Nathan. Thanks so much for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next video or stream. Goodbye.